Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Star Wars Abridged. In the last video, we went over Chapter 8 of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, and in this video, we will be going over Chapter 9. So, Chapter 9, we will be back with Captain Pellaeon and Grand Admiral Thrawn for the first part of the chapter. Then we'll jump to Mara Jade and Talon Karrde, and then we'll jump to Leia, Han, and Luke. So we get a little bit of everything in this chapter. But enough talking, let's get into the actual chapter. So, Chapter 9 opens from Captain Pellaeon's point of view on the Chimera. He is on the command bridge with Thrawn and C'baoth. A tactical officer comes over the intercom and tells Thrawn that all units are ready, and Thrawn says to prepare to jump to lightspeed. It is then revealed that there are 5 total Star Destroyers preparing to jump to lightspeed. They're heading for the Fash system, which is extremely close to their current location. It is then revealed that C'baoth is controlling 2 of his own sectors of destroyers of troops by communicating with their crews through the Force, and this really shows off his power. He is able to keep in contact with 2 full forces of Star Destroyer ships that are each going to different systems, and he can keep everything bridged with them and communicate with them so that there is total coordination. So Thrawn then gives the order to jump to lightspeed. They arrive in the Fash system in literally seconds because they're very close to it, and Pellaeon orders the TIE fighters to depart from their respective Star Destroyers. The attack has begun. It's important to note that Fash is a double planet and that it has a lot of moons, so the Empire is attacking a pretty big area of space in this system. They have quite a bit of ground to cover, but they have 5 Star Destroyers. The other 2 task forces that C'baoth is controlling, they have their own Star Destroyers as well. Some New Republic fighters start flying out from the planet, and Thrawn orders for them to get a location on the base where the fighters are departing from. He then orders one of the Star Destroyers to take out that base. Pellaeon then commands the Chimera to target the farthest of the 2 planets, and for one of the other Star Destroyers to focus on the closest planet. Thrawn is fine with this command, and he seems to be pleased with how the attack is going, and he tells Pellaeon to remind all of the troops that the plan at this time is to scare the New Republic, not decimate them. Thrawn then turns to C'baoth and asks how the attacks in the other 2 systems are going. C'baoth says that they're fine, and Thrawn asks if he can tell what resistance they're facing. C'baoth says no, and this kind of makes him a little bit like, why are you questioning my powers? But he does tell Thrawn that he can tell they're not in any danger. Thrawn then orders C'baoth to command one of the Star Destroyers to stop its attack and meet at the rendezvous point. It is at this point that Pellaeon realizes Thrawn's grand plan for this entire attack. It's not just a preliminary attack to set up the Sluis Vaughn operation. It is setting up the Sluis Vaughn operation, but that's not the only reason Thrawn is doing this. Thrawn wants to test C'baoth's abilities, and also wants to test how good he is at accepting orders. So that's why he has C'baoth controlling 2 task forces and is given orders like, only bring 1 Star Destroyer back, tell them this, tell them that. He's wanting to see how well C'baoth performs and how well he follows orders. So the battle is actually going extremely well for the Empire, which obviously pleases Pellaeon to some extent, but at the same time it makes him uneasy. He sees that they are operating at 40% more effective than usual, which makes him reluctantly look at C'baoth and realize that Thrawn was right about the Empire losing the Battle of Endor after Palpatine's death, because they needed a coordinator, a Force-sensitive leader. They had lost Palpatine, and they kind of just started dispersing everywhere, and nobody knew what to do. And when they have one leader that can coordinate these attacks and unite everybody, they perform at a much higher level, and Pellaeon is starting to realize that. It is then revealed that C'baoth is controlling his 2 task forces and they are 4 light years away, which I know that's not a lot in the Star Wars universe, but 4 light years away is still a pretty good distance, especially for him to be able to communicate with them. That alone proves that he is insanely powerful. Like, they have somebody that really holds a lot of power. Just as the New Republic launches more fighters, Thrawn says that it's time to leave. They sent their message to the New Republic, and now Thrawn has an idea of Sabaoth's abilities. He orders Sabaoth to tell the other 2 task forces to break off their attacks as well and head for the rendezvous point. Thrawn then asks Pellaeon about the mole miners, and Pellaeon says that they haven't made any progress yet, but that the Athega system would probably be the best option for them to find them. Sabaoth, who just came out of his force mind transfer trance sort of thing, asks Thrawn where his Jedi are. Thrawn tells Sabaoth to be patient, that he will get the Jedi for him, which he's talking about Luke and Leia, and that the team of Nogri are ready to attack. The point of view then switches to Mara Jade's for a few pages. Her, Karrde, and a pilot named Lockton are in Karrde's freighter, which is ironically named Wild Karrde, and they are watching the Imperial attack that we just witnessed from afar on freighter. Mara sees one of the Star Destroyers jump to light speed, and she tells the group that the Empire is leaving. Karrde reveals that the Empire's maneuver in this attack is called a hit and fade, and Lockton says that he heard about that happening in the Draki system, but it was only one Star Destroyer, which we assume has to be the Chimera. And that really shows just how good of a military strategist Thrawn is. Karrde then wonders what Thrawn's plan is, and Mara says that it has to be complicated, that even in the days of the Empire, everything Thrawn did was complicated, and he was always above everyone else. Karrde then tells Mara that she seems to know something about Thrawn, and Mara says she knows something about a lot of things. Mara asks Karrde if they should get going. The last Star Destroyer is about to jump to light speed. Karrde replies that they are not going to be delivering the shipment to the Empire today. So that's why they are out there in the first place. We learn that they're supposed to make a delivery to the Empire. Karrde says that with the attack and everything, it would be too risky to try to make a delivery anyway, and that they will instead contact the Empire and tell them that they'll make the delivery in 1 week. This makes Mara uncomfortable because she said that they promised to deliver and they're breaking that promise, and Karrde then says that they'll still want the shipment even though it is late, and Mara says that that's probably true. Then Mara looks out at all of the planets and wonders if Luke Skywalker is on any of them. We then switch to Leia's point of view, and she finally has her own lightsaber. She is training with a remote training droid like the one Luke used in A New Hope, and she's honestly not doing that great with it. Han eventually comes into the room and tells the group about the Empire's attack that we just read about. He says they delivered a 3-prong hit and fade on 3 systems in the Sluis sector. Leia says that she can feel that they're up to something really big. Leia asks how the systems are, and Han says that they're not too bad. It could have definitely been worse. But Mon Mothma does want Leia to go out there, put out a good image for the New Republic, and assure them that they will be protected. Luke is worried about Leia going alone, but Han says that he and Chewie will be going with her, and that this time, unlike Bemisari, there will also be a 20-ship convoy, and also Wedge and the entirety of Rogue Squadron will be going along with them. Luke wants to come too, just for extra safety, but Leia says no. The Fasci don't like Jedi because apparently there were some Jedi that went bad during the Clone Wars and caused a lot of turmoil in the Fasci system. Then after some time they were basically forced off of the planet and they ended up going to Dagobah. This obviously piques Luke's interest because he never heard Yoda talk about any Dark Jedi on Dagobah, and when they were at Dagobah or first went to Dagobah, it kind of lines up in the timeline with when Yoda would have went there after the Clone Wars. So Luke just has a lot of questions, you know. So Leia goes to get on the ship to leave for Fash, and Luke is still very worried. Han says he can't protect her forever, and Han ends up leaving as well. Luke, who is now alone, worries about teaching Leia and eventually other Jedi. He's just not really comfortable doing this, as of right now. He ends up using that training droid himself for about 20 minutes, but he sort of blacked out because to him it only felt like he was using it for seconds. And then he has a strong urge to go to Dagobah. It's like he can feel the entire planet calling for him. He calls and tells the spaceport on Coruscant to prepare his X-Wing, and he sends R2-D2 to go down there and get prepared to leave. Luke really isn't sure why he's going to Dagobah. Like I said, it's more of just a feeling at this point that he needs to go there for some reason. He tells himself that there is absolutely no way that Yoda's presence is still on the planet, but then he wonders if it actually may be. So that wraps up Chapter 9 of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire. Bit of a longer chapter, bit of a longer video, but we got to catch up with every group of characters that we have been with at this point. We had Thrawn, Pelion, Sabaoth on the Chimera, then Talon, Karrde, and Mara Jade, and then Han, Luke, and Leia. So it was really a bit of everything in this chapter. And some questions raised, some questions answered, but in the next video we will be obviously getting into Chapter 10. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Thanks for listening to some Star Wars, and as always, may the Force be with you.